go. Okay, good to know. I'm going to try chumrup sur. I know Cambodia is one of my favorite parts of Asia. I've been in Singapore for 17 years. So from Canada to Singapore, and I don't ever want to go home. I began as a classroom teacher. And so I really I understand what teachers are trying to do in the classroom and maybe how they want us to help as teacher librarians. So I'm just going to, I hope, share my screen. And I think you will all disappear for me. So just let me know, you know, unmute and tell me if you cannot see anything or if you cannot hear me. But let's try this. Okay. Okay, there we go. We should probably start at the very beginning. There we go. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes,
okay,
we can see.
Okay, lovely. Okie dokie. So there I am. I am, as I said, I've been here. I've come from the classroom into the library position, and I didn't have formal library training until I came into the library. They needed somebody so badly. So I came in and I will never leave. They will take me out of here. Yeah, I'm very, very old. I love the responsibility and the just the creativity that this job allows us to do. So that's just me and my daughter and my mom. We went to see the Barbie movie. But I really do feel this is the best job in a school setting because we have incredible power. And with that power comes responsibility, as my students who love Spider-Man will tell me. So I'll start really basically with sort of what makes a school library, to me, very important. And please, I am not an expert. I am just going to share with you what I understand, and I'm looking forward to hearing what your thoughts are as well. But from my perspective, this is what makes a school library important and unique compared to a public library. For example, I just wanted to make sure you had these as resources. These are two really great posters to share with people, because I'm sure you have all come across people who have no idea what a librarian does. So this is just a wonderful way. We've shared this with our student community and with our parent community to help them understand a bit about what we do. So Neil Gaiman, one of my favorite storytellers, and one of my favorite quotes about the library, and it's true. There's lots that Google can do, and there's limitations, and that's where we can step in. So one of the most important things about a school library is our integration with specific learning priorities. And for us, the students are number one. So everything we do through that mindset, what is best for the student, because sometimes there's conflict. And for us, we start with what's best for the student. Then we are always ready to help teachers. And then we negotiate that fine line about that freedom that we want students to explore the information around them. But parents in our school anyway have the final say. So if a student wants to read a book that parents, that's just the line we've had to draw. So parents have that ultimate final say. We are all the collection that we do, all the collection development we do, and all the resources we procure are specifically for the students, which is obvious, but it's a bit different than perhaps in a public library. And the lessons that we create. So we teach, the teacher librarians, there's 3 of us. We teach every class at least every other week. So the lessons that we create are very specifically geared to support the students, which makes sense. We are mandated, or we exist because we have demonstrated that strong school libraries means strong and better student outcomes. The better and stronger a student connection is to the library, the better they will do in their classwork, in their schoolwork. And I have some data to back me up, and there's some at the end as well, some other studies that have shown how important it is to invest in the library. And sometimes we have to advocate for ourselves in the class, in the school setting. We just went through budget rounds, and I always have to stand up and ask for the funding that we need. And always I have to make a strong case for the connection between student outcomes, student learning, and a strong library. Oh, there we go. Oh, hello. There we go. The other thing that we are really important and really in a unique position to be able to do is to build strong relationships with students. We as literacy experts, we don't give grades. We are never judging a child. So they can tell us they are struggling and know that it's not going to end up on a report card. So we have a very different relationship than teachers, and we can really use that to our advantage to help them. And we're always trying to help, even if a student doesn't really love reading yet, or if they are struggling, we are always helping. And I think that is a difference to some of the other positions teachers in schools have to take. The other advantage we have that makes us really important experts in the school is that we will see students across grades and over many years. So we're one of the only people in the school that knows what's happening in grade 1 and 2 and grade 10, and what's happening in science and history and language. We sort of have a very broad overview, which makes us very useful in helping to keep the whole system sort of knowing what everyone's doing. And we've really tried to leverage that as teacher librarians. We try and make sure we share what's happening in other grades. And we work really, really hard to be trusted. So when students share something with us or ask us for something, we are very conscious of making sure that we really respect the trust that the students show in us. We are a safe space, and in our school, we're a quiet space. So we have lots of collaborative spaces. So our library space doesn't have to be a collaborative space. There are spaces to do that, but that's, as a rule, we are quiet. Our job is to make everybody feel welcome, to be safe, to be a calm place. And there's students who really need that. And you can see it's hard to tell what's happening in the top right photo, but that's a student that's curled up with a stuffed animal having a bit of a snooze because they really needed that between exams. So that's something we work really, really hard to do to make our space look beautiful and feel good. So that's the space. And then we were just in the introduction, it was brought up that teacher librarians have many different roles. We're not just shelvers. I do lots of shelving. I love shelving. But this I thought was by Laura Wheeler. This is a really nice infographic just to show some of the jobs that we have to do during the day. So I think first and foremost, we are here to make sure children have the best chance to love reading and learning, and to foster their curiosity, to make sure that when someone is curious, we help them get to information if that's where they're going, or to a story. And especially when our students have access to so much information, that's part of our job too, to curate and help them to find it. But for us as teacher librarians, it's very important on our team that we love reading. So we are constantly, I've got I won't show you my desk because it's embarrassing, but there's piles of books everywhere. We are passionate readers ourselves. We take time to get to know students. I have beautiful spreadsheets for every class, and I make notes every time I talk to a student so that I'm really good at being sure I kind of know what the next book might be, or the next history text that some student might be interested in. So we take time to know the students, and then we make sure that in collection development that we have the right book at the right time. And that's changing all the time, because from year to year, our student population looks very different. So from year to year, we are changing what that perfect collection looks like. And even, you know, just changing curriculum, all of that. And then the last thing is mirrors, doors, and windows. And this is a concept that's been around for a while, but it just helps guide us as librarians when we're finding books, when we're trying to come up with a really thoughtful collection, that we want to make sure we have books that kids can read that show them a totally different world, that let them experience or see or understand something completely different to their own lives. And then mirrors, we want to make sure children, there are books here that feature children like the children we have in our school. So do I have books about children who are from Asia, or are they from Burma, or from Paris, or in a wheelchair? So we work very hard to make sure that the collection reflects the students. And then also we hope that the glass door, that's the idea that we manage to get into their hands a book that takes them to another place, but they come to empathize and actually learn something new about themselves through reading a book. I'm always telling my students, I say, yes, the more you read, the better your grades will be. But from my perspective, what's most important is the more you read, the better human you will be. You will be a better human the more you read. And I think they prefer the higher grades, to be honest. We are book finding specialists. So we're constantly looking at catalogs, and I'm happy to share anything that anybody's interested in terms of the places that we look to find books. But I'm constantly getting newsletters from awards committees, so that they're sharing the new books. So lots and lots of resources I've gathered over the years so that I can find books. What are the best books in translation? Because I don't want only English. And we're experts at finding free resources. And this is one of my favorites, and I hope everybody can see. This is the wonderful Story Weaver, and it's a marvelous organization, but it is wonderful because it's a place where you can go and everything is Creative Commons, so we can print them out. They are seeking people to translate. So we have students that will translate from English to their mother tongue, which is wonderful. And my mother's even an author here.
Sorry, Lisa, can you go to full screen, please?
Full screen. Yes,
yes.
I can. There we go. Does that work better?
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. So this resource, absolutely free. And there went my mom wrote a little book, and it's already been translated. And I just encourage that. I use this resource a great deal because everything is free, and it also gives us the opportunity to translate into mother tongue. So I just think this is one of my favorite resources. And I've got the link in the presentation, so that's wonderful. As I said before, we're looking for diversity in our collections. We are working very hard to make sure that we have books from every country in the world and from every sort of group of people, which is impossible, but we're trying. And I'm always asking students. I have a piece of paper, old school, and I also have a Google Doc or a Google Form. Students can let me know if there's books that they want, and then I will do my best to bring them in somehow, some way, depending on the budget. We're also literacy experts. So I and my staff, we spend a lot of time reading research on the different and new ways that literacy is being perceived, the new way. For example, reading now is very different than reading even 10 years ago. So we spend a lot of time doing research. So what does it mean to be able to read in the age of the iPad or the phone? So it's very important to me and my staff that we are experts, that we look at all of that, and we curate for each other. So if I find a study or hear of an article, we share them with each other. And that's really important. The networking is really, really important. And then we make sure that we are able to support teachers who may not have the same time to do that research. So we can help them that way because they're so busy. We're also, and this is the big 21st century learning component, we are research gurus. So I remember all the librarians that are in the network that I belong to in Southeast Asia. We were all in a panic last November talking about AI and what it would mean to the library. So that's something, again, that we need to be aware of and on top of and talking about is what is that technology doing to affect us as librarians in terms of information and how we share that and how we teach children. I have a lesson here, I hope. Let's see if it works. This is just an example of one of the lessons that I do with my students, and you will have absolutely access to it, and it changes all the time, but we're always talking to them about why research is important and why it's important in the Western educational system context, how it's different than in the Asian context sometimes. So we just have to make sure that we're sharing that with them. And then we come up with some easy, and I have that poster for you too. We use the PARC or CRAP system to help students understand how to identify reliable sources. So, and that's in there. You look at that at your leisure. I wanted to make sure we use a citation tool called Noodle Tools, and it is extraordinarily inexpensive relative to other tools, and it is what our children use to cite in all their projects and to organize all their projects. And I'm happy to talk about that a little bit more, but I know we're stretched for time. All right, so we find ways to make information accessible. So at CIS, we have created something called LibGuides, easy to make on a Google site, but this is where our students come and they can access the catalog here. This is where if they can't find a book, they can order it from me, or at least ask. We have all our databases that the students have access to. And then we start collecting every year. We get the students to help us collect reliable news sources, and we want them to be from all over the world in many different languages. So that's usually a really important library lesson. And then it looks a little bit different in primary. They do a marvelous job. And they have the same resources so that students and teachers can look on the LibGuide and access what they need to access in terms of research for their grade and their unit. So as teacher librarians, we put the collections together for them. We go onto YouTube and collect videos. We find articles that might work or websites that might work. So there's one place for the students to come and look for the information that they need. That's an important role we play as student librarians in terms of making sure students can access the information when they need it. And that list of digital resources, please look at. It's their free digital resources, free databases from around the world and in different areas, arts and history, politics. So it's a good source. I use it all the time. So we definitely teach explicitly. We teach lessons. We use another acronym called MISO, which is to help students remember that information isn't just in books. It's also what we learn from other people. It's also information we gather from surveys, and it's also observation. So that's just one of the ways that we do, Oopsie Macy. And then I just wanted to, this tool has just come, I've just become aware of it in the last maybe month, and it is extraordinary. It's free for now. It's free for now. And I just want to move this out of the way, but it won't go out of the way. There we go. It's free for now, and I would be so excited for people to use it. So if you, for example, had an article that was in English and you found that wonderful article, you can take the URL and insert it into DFID, and it is absolutely remarkable. You can have it changed into, you can see over here, it says 5th grade. I can adjust that right down so that it again, us librarians understanding that we need to get the information to the students at the right level, but it also, then we can change it into another language, and it does pretty well. And this is all for free right now. So I suggest people make use of it now before they start charging. And then you can make it absolutely beautiful. And you can export it in any of these formats. And it's just a remarkable tool for us to be able to use to help getting information to our students at the right level and in the right language. I do a lot of translation into Chinese, Korean, Japanese, French, and Spanish. So this tool has just one of those wonderful tools that I learned about from another librarian, and just the sharing that information has been so important. So that to me was a great and very impressive new tool for us when we're teaching research. Collaboration with teachers and parents. I think that's something that teacher librarians have to do that other librarians may not have to do, but we definitely have to do that. So at the beginning of the year, we push ourselves, we kind of get our elbows out, and we find a way to present to parents and to teachers, and we reach out and ask people if anyone has questions or ideas. And those are the teachers and the parents that we work with. We only have so much time in every day, so we really want to work with the people who want to work with us. And then they do what we all do, and they tell somebody and tell somebody, and then all of a sudden you have much more collaboration happening with your parent community and with your teachers. We try very hard to meet weekly with the teachers so that we know they're teaching poetry in grade 4, they're teaching essay writing in grade 10, so that we can then say to the teachers, we can teach this lesson for you. And we share everything. We share together as a school. We also share as a network. And that's where I've learned almost everything important that I needed to know about being a librarian was from other librarians. They're very generous. We want to have parents in, so I will be hosting in November a session on research. What does research look like when you're in high school? So parents understand what the demands are of their students and what tools they're using and kind of what the expectations are. So I take them through I make them do a little mini research project, and that's really wonderful. I also ask for parents to come into the library and help, and they are really wonderful and very generous with their time. I think this is one of the most important things. So I just wanted to share what we do in our library, and it's not the right thing to do. It's just what we do in our library. So the first thing we want is for students to know whether a book is a good book for them, rather than teachers telling them all the time. So one of the first things we do is to teach children the 5-finger rule. If they read the page and nothing happens, then it's too easy. If 2 fingers go down, it's good. If 3 or 4 go down, give it a try. And the rule is if there's 5 fingers down, leave the book until later. I would never say no to a student though. And I know every librarian knows those children who push really hard. And I would never say to a student, no, you cannot. It would just be a way to help them gauge and understand what is the best for them. The other thing we do that costs no money, but we turn as many books front facing as we can. And the rule is if they can see it, they'll pick it. So you'll see that the shelves aren't absolutely stuffed with books, because we've just found if there's so many books, the students don't know where to start. So we curate very carefully, pick only the books we are really sure they will enjoy, and then put books front facing as much as we can. This is from high school, this front facing display. We just get always changing them. We put books in bins. We make sure if it's easy, students will try. We all know that as soon as it gets a little bit hard or they have to click more than once, they might go off in another direction. So we make sure that the signage is clear, and the bins are really helpful for that. Kids can see, and then it also keeps the shelves tidy and makes it the shelving job for staff much simpler and much faster. So we found that those bins are really helpful. We change displays all the time as much as we can. If it's new, they will be interested. We hope. So we try and come up with new displays as often as we have the time and the energy. This one's very helpful. If a book is very popular, once a student's finished it, we want to take advantage of that enthusiasm. So we have these posters, and again, we've shared them and we're prepared. We're happy to share them. But if you loved Harry Potter, you might like this. If you loved Captain Underpants, you might like this. So in any language, at any level, as teacher librarians, we're trying to make sure we have in our own head the next book that a student might like, so that they don't have that opportunity to lose their enthusiasm. We change these all the time. Students come to us all the time, as I'm sure they come to you. Oh, Miss, I really love this book. I don't know what it's called, but it had a dog on the cover. And so we've just kind of leveraged that. And this is just one of our, I don't remember the title, but the cover was creepy. So that was just in honor of Halloween. We also, we highlight the popular series. We remove them from the shelves. We give them like a superstar position. And one of our amazing librarians, she just uses bookends and construction paper, and she makes little signs, and that the students can see it. And those displays have been working really well for us. We also recognize the library is a hub for the whole school. Every grade comes in, all the parents come in, all the teachers come in, and we thought it would be useful if every grade could see what every other grade was doing. That idea that teacher librarians facilitate that collaboration across grades. So this wall was just, it was really just a beautiful white wall. And what we do is whatever unit of inquiry, so whatever the students are studying in that grade, we get images or evidence. Sometimes a student work will go up on the wall, but you can tell what they're looking at and what they're doing in that unit. So teachers and students can see what's happening across the grades, and that's been really wonderful for us. We make things easy to find, so clear signage. Ours isn't fancy, expensive. We use binders and just put a label on the spine, and that works. It works really well, especially now if we're going to try and tweak Dewey. In the high school, that's our signage. We just took stick-on letters and put them on some scrap plastic and hung them up so that kids could find it. And I guess the next thing that we wanted to talk about was collection organization. And we've done something very different or from where I started. When I came into the library, it was a traditionally organized library, fiction by author's last name and nonfiction according to the Dewey Decimal System. So we decided after much discussion, and I visited many other libraries that had genrefied. I was very hesitant, but won over. We decided to genreify our collection, and we started with the secondary collection because it was the smallest. And what we found is that the sort of the why did we do it was because the students could find books faster, and because they could find them faster and had all the books that they were interested in front of them, the choices they made tended to be better choices. They tended to actually take the book home and read it rather than leave it in their bag. Circulation has increased, which was great. That's a number that my principal is often asking for. So circulation increased. Shelving is more efficient. And weeding, when we go to take old titles off the shelf, it's easier for us now that it's genrefied. So in the primary, what we did was we added dots, but we didn't put all of the same genre together. So in primary, you can tell what genre the book is, but they're not all together. Because we wanted to see if it worked first. In secondary, we added the dots and moved the sections. So that image is just an example of some of the options you have when you decide to genreify. Because you can call any genre anything, or you could choose to do any number of genres. So that's what it looks like in primary. So I can, by just looking at that, I can tell the blue dots are mystery, the orange dots are adventure, green dots are realistic fiction. So that's how it works in primary. And then in secondary, this is the fantasy section. So all the dots in this section are pink. So everything in here is fantasy. So that was just the difference between primary and secondary. So to do that, we first had to choose the list of genres. So what are we going to choose? And we talked to a lot of students about this. What would they recognize as genre? And then once we had done that, we had to choose the genre for each book. And that was hard. We had to come up with rules. Is Harry Potter adventure or fantasy? Depending on who you're talking to. For us, it's fantasy. So we developed a set of rules to be able to define the genres. Then we stuck a dot on and we recatalogued them. Obviously, students need to be able to find them, because now if you come in looking for Hunger Games, it's by Susan Collins or Suzanne Collins. It's not in COL anymore. It's in, first they have to know to go to sci-fi. So we had to re-educate the students, and we had to recatalog the books so that they had a sublocation, because if they can't find them, that's not going to be helpful. In primary, we did genreify our lit kit. So this is something that we have as a mandate from our teachers. We have multiple copies of books so that they can do book circles or partner reading or small group reading. And for that, we did genreify all of those books, so students can come as a group and take 5 copies of I don't know, The Hobbit, and take them out and look at them. And again, it's easier for them to find it that way. So clear signage is really important. Now, doing our next big project is to look at the Dewey Decimal System, which was obviously invented many, many years ago and may not be the best system. So we're in that process now where we're visiting libraries to see what it looks like in other libraries. I've put some of the resources we've been using, and maybe if we ever have another conversation, I will let you know how it goes. But our goal is to make sure that students can find information. Again, that's our job, to find it quickly, because it's frustrating for them if they are looking at political systems and those books are in one section, and there's also books on countries with those political systems so far away. So what the idea is would be that we bring them together again, so that we make sure we have kids can access. And finally, I think the thing that we've learned the hard way is if we do not promote our services, people don't know they're here, they don't use them, and then it's very hard to justify our existence. So we do a lot of things to promote reading, especially. And again, we do it really simply. These are just for our book week. And now this year we're doing one promotion a month rather than having them all in one week. But last year we had a book that changed my life competition, and they just looked at that QR code. It took them to a Google Doc, and they shared, or maybe that was Padlet, and they shared their ideas and their thoughts. They did ads, like a TikTok ad, a book talk for their favorite books. They also, just for fun, we shredded a novel, but we didn't really shred a novel. We photocopied and shredded it, and they just had to look in and see if they could guess what the novel was. And then of course we have, this is another great, easy promotion. We get the kids to take their photos and then vote on the pictures. We do reading challenges. So we had students log their reading and share their reading, and they did it as a team, as a class. And then the class with the most minutes logged or books logged, depending on how you run it, they got a little party. So we made sure that they were celebrated, and we shared in our assemblies, we made sure that they were acknowledged. So reading challenges are really important. We have book character days where all the students dress up and the teachers dress up too. I was a crayon, not terribly imaginative, but we try and get that excitement around reading as much as we can. We also produce these, and one is for primary and one is for secondary. Again, when a parent sees that there have been 21,000 checkouts in a week, they're more likely to be a bit kind and patient when we're trying to work with them. And then it just also shows the students what what the popular titles are. So that's another thing that we do. And that is me finished talking. I've included some of my absolutely favorite blogs and resources. Canva is something I think it would be wonderful for everybody. It just helps so much. This is where we create all our signs, and they have a really wonderful AI tool that will take any template and in seconds translate it into any language that you want. It's free for educators. So you go in and register as an educator, and you will be able to take advantage of this marvelous tool. And I also share this with children because it is also really helpful for them when they're developing presentations. So when I'm teaching them how to take their research and present it to the world, this is one of my favorite resources for them, and very intuitive and very easy for them to use. So those are just some of my favorites.
Sorry, Lisa, I need to interrupt. We have about 5 minutes more.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt. I have 5 minutes, or we only have 5 minutes?
You have 5 minutes more?
Okay, well, I'm happy to. So this is just, one of the things, again, that I take advantage of as a librarian is all the amazing festivals. And I don't have, the school doesn't have a lot of budget to send me places, but once a conference is finished, I definitely look at what came out of that conference and all of the publications that were in the conference. Singapore hosts an amazing festival of children's content. And then after the fact, there's free resources for us teacher librarians to be able to access. And just a reminder that you could take any of these articles and pop it into DFID and have it translated so that you could access it more easily as well. So that is the end. And I zoomed through so much. So I'm very happy to take any questions.
I'm sorry to interrupting. I am her kid, so I would like you to summarize the point of we are talking about, because she told me that she wants me to translate for her, and I think I'm here late, so I don't know what are we talking about. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's no worries. I think in summary, it is that teacher librarians, if we are to serve the needs of the student in 21st century schools, we have a lot of things to become experts in. So we have to be experts in research, in teaching research. We have to be experts in literacy. So in all of the science that supports reading and how we're reading in the 21st century. I mean, I think, there we go. There's a book right here. I have asked or shared this with all my teachers because it's a really interesting look at how we read in a modern context. So we have to be experts on that. We have to be experts on where to get great books and where to get great resources. And we have to be experts on how to get the community to collaborate, how to get teachers and parents to collaborate with each other and with us. And I think that's it in a nutshell, but please feel free. I can figure out a way to summarize it more succinctly if you need that.
Thank you. I get it. I get it. Thank you.
Lisa, you have, are you done, or you
yes,
have?
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa, for that very, very detailed sharing. Wow. And a lot of tips on useful tips. So now it's time for the audience. I'm afraid we don't have much time for questions. There was one question from, they want to know where the students log their reading.
So we had originally it was just I created a Google form and students logged their reading. And then I had to go in and add up students' reading. And that took a lot of time. So we are trying a new service. It's called Bean Stack. And can I get into the chat? There it is. Okay. So we're using something called Bean Stack. It's out of the States, but it's an app for the phone and students can log right on the app. It costs, we're not sure that it's the best option. So we're still trying to ask around the community to see if there's a better tool for logging hours. We originally did it via Google Docs.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, one more question. You mentioned that you have got a lot of useful information from other librarians. And I know you are a member of this very active international school librarians group in Singapore. Can you very briefly mention, share a little bit about the activities you all do and how you share information and collaborate with each other?
Absolutely. We do. Let me see if I can. So I've just put it in the chat, but I will attempt to find. So it's the International School Library Network, and anyone's able to join. We meet 4 times a year. There's our website, and we have a Google group, so we're sharing information all the time, sharing lessons all the time. It's the librarians, the other librarians are, I mean, honestly, they're absolutely wonderful and great resources for me and for anybody so willing to share. We get together and we create a list of books that we then share with all the schools, and then the students vote on it. So it's again a way to promote reading, and you can check that out. We also have regular professional development sessions. So we'll have guest speakers come in to talk to us about absolutely anything that we think we need. We've had somebody come in to talk to us about AI. We share resources. It's a great, if I'm looking for a book about, I can ask my network. Very powerful tool to have other people in your network that you can chat to. So it's it's an excellent. There's also a couple on Facebook, and I'll share those with you. A couple of really good international librarian networks.
Thank you, Lisa. I think we are almost coming to the end now. Thank you, Lisa, for walking us through that very, very detailed presentation. A big thank you to our audience for making time to join us for this webinar from different parts of Asia. Yes. And not only Cambodia, but Maldives. And I saw a lot of other names from different countries. Thank you very much for taking time to join us today. And once again, I would like to thank Kurt Breedenberg, Advisor Cape, and Pick Sofian for your ready collaboration, because I couldn't have done this without your collaboration. And Savin, Senior Communications Officer and at Cape, and Dara, IT Officer at Cape. Thank you both for your support. I'm Gina Dialvi signing off for today. And we will be sending you the recording in due time. Thank you.
We still have a few questions
Oh,
Oh
good.
dear.
Go right ahead. And I've just,
in the chat box. I think that someone have asked you all, asked Lisa. You know,
Oh,
okay,
sorry. Where is that question? Is it?
you asked,
maybe we can extend about 5 minutes or to 10 minutes.
Okay. Is this, yeah, where do students log their reading?
Yeah.
Sorry, that one was taken earlier.
feel free to go on the mic.
In the chat box. In the chat box. Okay.
Yes, they're all, it's so going crazy fast. I can't even find the, I've shared my email, so just in case.
You see, one of our audience, she said like how to promote reading to our young leader, like young learner.
Oh, okay.
So I actually find them easier to get excited about reading. The older kids get a little bit harder, but we do one thing that works so well is we get mystery readers to come in, parents come in, or the principal comes in and he reads a story to the students, or she reads a story to the students. Our book week activities, we have the students come and vote on things. Our librarians are just amazing. One of the librarians with the little ones, she just read them a story and then they had to pick an emoji that matched the story, and they just would say, I think this story is this emoji, because just getting children to interact with the reading and bringing in, if we're excited about reading, to be perfectly honest, young children are excited about reading. If I go in with a picture book and I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, oh no, this is ready, here we go. And if we can be excited, that's the best thing that I think that we can do. But we definitely, all of those book promotion ideas, the book character day, anything, and I can share lots. If somebody emails me with that question, I'll try and get more specific depending on the grade.
Another question from Olga. Saying the question is that where do students log their reading?
So when they're logging their reading, we've done it many different ways. We've had, I don't know if I have, they've gotten a cute little book and they've logged their reading in the book. Mostly we have to trust that they're doing the right thing. So we've had them do it pen and paper. We've had them, as I said, I create a Google form. I'm happy to share that Google form, and I send it to the children. And every time they finish a book, they finish the Google form and it comes out on a spreadsheet. And then I can look on the spreadsheet and have to do a bit of calculation. And then we have we're trialing a new app to see, it's called Beanstack. I was mentioning it before, and it is just an app that they can log their reading into. But I'm not convinced that this fancy app does any better than So this is the app, and they just put a book in and tell me how many hours they've spent, and it comes into a beautiful, very fancy interface, but I'm not sure it's any better. I don't know if it makes the kids read more. It's easier, but I don't know if it makes them read more.
So Hyun, do we have time for another question?
Yes, thank you. I see.
Okay.
I try to scroll to see more questions.
Yeah, there's one question here. How could we know or evaluate about the improvement of children through reading?
That's another thing I spend a lot of time doing. I was just looking at it. Our children take standardized tests, and I print out the results and I try and see if I can find a connection between those results and how often they're checking out books or how often their classroom comes into class, and see if I can make a connection between the reading that I see them doing and their scores. The other thing I do, I don't know if I, how do I do, I'm still sharing, right? When I have my children, when I have my students in their classes, oh goodness, come on, sign back in. I have created, oh good Lord, that's not going to work. And I don't remember my, I will share that with you. So I create a spreadsheet. There's my books that kids are asking me, but I create a spreadsheet like this, and let's put that away now. And let's stop sharing the screen too. I have their names and I talk to them and I ask them what they're reading, and I then can take that and show that to teachers. I think teacher librarians often identify reading issues before classroom teachers do, especially in high school. So that's, I've got other ideas for that too. And I know we're pushed for time, but please send me an email and I will chat back.
So
Okay,
Phil,
great, Lisa.
do we finish or can we do one more question?
Yes, if any participant want to have one more question.
No,
okay,
there
you
is
have a
one
chance.
here from the National Library. She wants to know what's the platform that's most important to influence children to read nowadays. Lisa?
I'm not sure what she means by platform, but it's very interesting. We didn't have a lot of digital reading at all, just by default, and focused on our hard copy book collection. And I just, in the back of my head, I thought that, and I asked students a lot, do you want a digital book or do you want a hard copy book? And it's interesting, some of the international libraries in Singapore, the school libraries, have now stopped digital reading from K to 3. So the students are only learning to read in the hard copy platform, so not any digital reading. And then after grade 3, they introduced ebooks and online reading resources like Epic Books. That's another really important free resource, is Epic. And it's only English books, but it's a really good free resource. But yeah, if that's what she meant or they meant, that's what we know. Oh,
Yeah.
share my email again. Okay, yes, I certainly can, but there we go.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. I
Very
think
welcome.
we'll sign off now. And thank you once again, everybody, for joining today. And have a good day or evening or whatever time it is for you now.
Thank you very, very much for hosting me and for approaching me and allowing me to share the thing I love to do the most. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, and thank you. I loved it. Yes. Thank you again, Lisa, and thank you, Kate.
Sorry, Gina and Lisa. Actually, we didn't see Lisa email address. Could you drop it us again?
My email?
Yes.
All right.
I think it goes to not to the whole participants, but to some of them.
Okay.
I think
you
can
yeah,
choose to whom it goes.
we will be sending the recording to everybody. With that, we will also send you Lisa's email address. Yes.
It's Lisa.
I think the file is a bit too big to attach to your email. Maybe we can use Telegram, or you can use Line, or you can use WhatsApp.
Yeah, no, we'll give a link to the.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on. There, this is gonna change everything at cis.edu.sg.
So everyone in Cambodia, you can contact me through my telephone to get my telegram. So
all right,
I think it's better.
We'll be posting the link to the recording at the CAPE website, and I will send it to everybody who is on the mailing list who attended this webinar today. Yeah, I have a list, and CAPE will send to their contacts. So I think we should be able to reach out to all of you all and share with you the recording and the Lisa's email address as well. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
Yes.
everybody. Thanks.
So Lisa, please keep in touch.
Yes. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank
We need to learn to get something new from you again, you know.
Any
Yeah.
questions, just send it to me. I'd be so excited. I'll come
Okay.
and visit. That'll be even better.
Yeah, I come with Lisa and visit. Yes. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor, and thank you, Lisa, for your
Thank you so much.
time. Yeah.
Sopin, thank you.
And
Thank you,
also,
Doctor. Thank you,
Yeah,
Lisa.
and-
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
your
Bye.
today.
Bye. Oh,
And
See you
Dr.
next
Ben,
time.
thank you.
And
Bye.
our webinar today, we also live on our Facebook.
Oh.
I will share the link to in this box.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I
Yes,
share
please
already.
do.
Yeah. Okay, thank you all.
Trước khiយើងអាច leave meeting ដើម្បីឲ្យ host អ្នកដែល host គាត់អាច save ចប់បានអញ្ចឹងណាសូមនាំគ្នាចេញដើម្បីឲ្យខាង hoster ហ្នឹងគាត់អាច save បានអញ្ចឹងណាកន្លែង leave លោកគ្រូមើល